Sean here with BaseMint Comics. It's the first Wednesday of January. It is January 7th, 2026. So before we head out to pick up our new books, which I'm very excited about, I was going to take a look briefly at the stuff that I picked up from last week. So I have tea in the Cyclops mug, which I am going to be drinking out of until December 18th, 2026. Holy crap, that Doomsday trailer. I knew it was coming. It was leaked. But still, like, seeing it, not, like, this is the part that I hate about the internet now, is I'm like, okay, there's grainy footage, so I'm like, oh, that's got to be AI. And then you see a cleaned up version, and you're like, oh, somebody cleaned that up with AI. I hate AI. But then, I don't believe it. When it comes to rumors and stuff, like, I do not believe that type of stuff until it's released by Marvel Studios. And so on Monday, they did, and my phone was blowing up all day of people being like, did you see that? And then it was my sister asking a million questions to try to make sense of the timeline. So, books that came out last week. One of the things that I was jazzed about, and I realized I picked it up last week, but it turns out, I guess, when I looked into it, it came out in like November, was this Gargoyles and Fantastic Four. The reason why I picked it up was because I enjoyed the Fantastic Four Gargoyles one that Marvel had put out. And so I was like, oh man, I didn't realize that this was like carrying on and that they were doing a thing. They were not doing a thing, and this was hot garbage. I did not enjoy it at all. Pacing was weird. I didn't even understand what was going on. And I basically just begrudgingly finished it because I purchased it. That was it. No great shakes there. The next book that I picked up, because I technically was only scheduled to pick up 2 books that week, but grabbed that Fantastic Four Gargoyles one on a whim because I enjoyed the first one so much, and I was let down, was Sources Supreme #1. So I had talked about how I thought there was like a mini-series that came out because I had seen a title, like an image, where it was like a bunch of characters with the cloak and the Eye of Agamotto. And so I thought there was going to be one of those, like, who's going to be the Sorcerer Supreme type of stories. And there was not. I was mistaken when I researched it after filming the video, because that's how I do my research. I realized that was just a variant cover. And so I was like, oh, well, maybe I'll pick up that variant cover. And then I read it, and I enjoyed it, but not enough to buy it twice. Like, it was a fun issue. It's carried on from the Vision and Scarlet Witch series. I've kind of, I've been enjoying this, but it is definitely not worth double dipping. So then the final book that I picked up on the last Wednesday of 2025 was X-Men Age of Revelation finale. This I actually really liked. I was like holding out hope because, I'm going to be completely honest, Age of Revelation was I didn't have high hopes. And those, that lack of high hopes was met with basically a lackluster event. However, the final issue actually was pretty good. I liked the Stegman. I always like Stegman's art, but there's also had Neto Diaz. He's kind of been the guy who, his style seems similar to Stegman's, so he's a good pairing on the regular Judd McKay X-Men title, but I don't think he's quite there. Like, it's just like a step below where Stegman is at, but this was good. I enjoyed it, but it was like to like a varying degree of enjoyment, where it's like, yeah, this was good compared to a lackluster event. And this still, granted, there were moments in there where it was like, okay, so it's nice to see Wolverine like snapped out of the chorister position or whatever that he was in and kind of like team up with the good guys again. But I don't necessarily think that was worth an entire miniseries. And so I still stick to I think this would have been excellent had it just been the main X-Men series. If that had been it. It did not need to be a line-wide event. It felt like most of the books were treading water, kind of like filling in space. And when you're shelling out $3.99, $4.99, $5.99 for a book, you don't, that was okay. It's hilarious. I say it's okay. It's not. It wasn't even okay when the books were 60 cents or 75 cents or $1. You go read old crossovers and everything tied in together nicely. This didn't. And I know that there's probably an argument to be made there from editorial where they were like, hey, you didn't feel like you needed to buy every title. But what if you are? Like, you're just kind of left with this, like, this really doesn't mean anything. This ends spoilers for a book that came out last week, or anyone who is reading it on Marvel Unlimited. Why you wouldn't want to hold it in your hands, I'll never know. The ending was good with the revelation that perhaps one of the characters that traveled to the future wasn't actually there, that it was someone else. But it also was kind of like a little bit, that particular character, I enjoyed them getting rid of the evil side of them. So I was a little like, oh man, here we go again. We're going to get this character to be a bad guy again. And I'm not super thrilled about it because I named my kid after him. Lesson learned, always name your children after fictional characters who have tied up their storyline. Otherwise, you're going to name your kid after Dark Beast. What are you going to do? All right, so that was last week's books. Not that anyone cares because this isn't a biking channel, but I still talk about it because we do it. It snowed. We were biking around with the skis. If you watched the last video that we put out, the Corner Box Classics one. However, it warmed up and rained for a couple days. And at least my rule of thumb and my friends who ride, is when it comes to trail riding, if it's this time of year and it warms up and everything melts, the trails, if you ride them, will turn into absolute like mud. It's just awful. So we had to take the stupid car. So yeah, that's what spoiler that we already did it. So that's what we did. We took the car. But there's the excitement for the kid there is that we stop at a little bakery by the comic book shop. So I'm going to kick it over to our trip to the comic book shop, and then I will be back to talk about the books that we picked up this week and what I'm excited about. All right, so we are back from the comic book shop. It was a fun time out. We are finally taking down the Christmas tree today, which is why it was a later start. We got started on that earlier, and then I split for a little bit while my wife took down a majority of the decorations off the tree. And then when this is all done, I'm going to put it all away. So anyways, so that's also another reason why we took the car. Lots going on today. So another light week this week, which was kind of nice. It was kind of nice, like, to be completely honest, it was very nice to have two kind of mellow weeks back to back, which is always nice. But here's the good thing about Age of Revelation. First book that I picked up was Wolverine number 406, or number 14 if you're going by volumes. This is a book that I wasn't it was not wowing me a ton. I mean, it was pretty good, but it's sort of like, I've got like a weird, I love the character Wolverine, but I find often that, like, if it's a lot of like, let's set Wolverine stories in the past, or or if he's particularly too overpowered, it's not really my cup of tea. No, a cup of tea. You like, for me personally, you have to get like just the perfect kind of right tone for Wolverine, and it seems like sometimes like writers find themselves on Wolverine, and it almost feels like they're trying to maybe tell a story. They're trying to tell a story that they want to tell through Wolverine, as opposed to telling a Wolverine story. I don't know if that makes sense. Anyways, but here's the thing. Age of Revelation, I did not enjoy that so much, that a book that was like, I was just excited to see like my Wolverine again. So I was like, hooray, hey, we're on a new storyline. Silver Sable's on the covers. She's popping up. Let's give it a shot. So there you have it. So I'm actually like, these are 3 books that I'm genuinely excited for. So there's that. Next, X-Men number 23, or 323 if you've been around since 1991. This is obviously the Age of Revelation epilogue with what happened in the finale. I am definitely interested. This is probably my most anticipated book of the week, mostly because I'm excited to be back in our normal timeline and out of the Age of Revelation timeline, and the kind of questions and concerns that the last issue put out there made me pretty excited for the epilogue and to kind of see where this goes. And again, it's a lot of that, like, hey, I'm just happy after 3 to 4 months, it feels like, to kind of have my heroes back, as opposed to an alternate. That's always the rub with alternate reality stories, is like, I enjoy them, but if they overstay their welcome, I'm just like, hey, I want to get back to like my universe. So there's that. But this one looks like a good one. I am jazzed for it. And really jazzed for Cyclops number 1, whenever, looks like that's coming out in February. And so then another book that I am very excited for, came out today, is Amazing Spider-Man number 983. Pepe Larraz is back, obviously. Like, it's no secret to anyone who's been following along on the channel that I love this run of Amazing Spider-Man. It was in my top 12 of the year. And it's just been really fun. I've enjoyed the hell out of the back and forth. And, between the Ben Reilly being Spider-Man, or Peter, and Norman being Spider-Man, and Peter being in space. And so this is going to be another Peter in space issue. And that's just, it's been a blast. So that's been a lot of fun. So those were the 3 books that I picked up. So that is our Wednesday. Thank you to everyone who has subscribed or likes and comments. I appreciate it. I think there is, let's see, we got a Corner Box Classics coming up. And then I'm probably going to throw a curveball at some point here, because there is a question that has been like on my mind that I kind of want to address, to be like, hey, anyways, who knows? It might be a Corner Box Classic this weekend, or it could be me lamenting a question that someone threw at me years and years ago, and I've, like, it's always bounced around in my head. And then Christmas stuff is down, so eventually I will get to the BaseMint Comics room tour, which I know one person is looking forward to. So there you have it. That's what's coming in the new year. If this was the end of, like, what was it, X-Men number 4, maybe? No, it was number 3. Like, what's to come in the year ahead? And that'll be it. More Corner Box Classics, a room tour. And I actually have been spending the last couple of days reading a DC story, which is what popped off this question in the back of my head. So I'm going to bring that to the class. So there you have it. That was this week's books, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks for tagging along on this ride with us. Bye.